Hail, Thunder Faithful. Welcome to this special Sunday edition of your Weekly Thunder. What? You're recording and releasing this episode on Sunday, Sexy Thor? What gives? Well, I'll tell you what gives. From like 9 a.m. Monday morning to 2 a.m. Tuesday morning, I'm going to be in Atlanta to see Monday Night Raw and everything else about the great city of Atlanta that I love. So, yeah, I literally have no time to record or even get on Podbean and post this. So, you're getting it on Sunday instead of Mjolnir Monday. Think of this as Sif Sunday. So, without further ado, welcome to your Weekly Thunder for February 24th, Sif Sunday. And I'm just a sexy Thor, I'm not your boy, Thor. That Shawn Michaels reference, if you haven't gotten it, is actually important for later, so just hold on with me while you're looking at your podcatcher of choice with a weird look and or just laughing your ass off. So anyway, to recap back a little bit, during All-Star Weekend, Team LeBron defeated Team Giannis. Honestly, if anyone cared, the only real result of any interest is, did he manage to recruit any of the future free agents on his team to the Lakers in the coming years? That's really all that matters. Also, Doom Patrol, that old show has premiered on DC Universe a couple weeks ago. It's now on its second episode. Doom Patrol and they were actually spreading the seeds a little early before the show premiered to really promote it, because Doom Patrol was in an episode of Titans that really expanded on Beast Boy's origin, and also there was on one of the episodes of Young Justice Outsiders. In fact, I think it was on the last batch of episodes before their mid-season break, when Beast Boy was going through all the memories haunting him in the virtual reality set. They had a Doom Patrol Go sequence. Yes, Doom Patrol in Teen Titans Go format. It was quite interesting. But yeah, 2 episodes in, Doom Patrol, it's awesome. If I'll sell you on anything with this show, because of course it's got a bunch of characters that the general populace really doesn't know, except for Cyborg, of course, because they've really been pushing Cyborg these last couple of years. They push Cyborg like they push Roman Reigns after John Cena. But yeah, if there's anything to sell you on it, the main villain, Mr. Nobody, is played by Alan Tudyk, and he does fourth wall narration on both episodes, and I assume every episode after that, and it is just wonderful. So if you need another reason to check out DC Universe, Doom Patrol is highly recommended so far. And next up, to get to the piece of news as to why I did that little Shawn Michaels Sexy Thor reference. News broke on ESPN this past Monday, and before I get to what it is, I just have one question for you. Are you ready to see D-Generation X get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame the day before WrestleMania? The most amazing group of troublemakers led by the boss's future son-in-law includes X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Rick Rude for a few months, Road Dogg, Chyna, and of course, Shawn Michaels and Triple H are all going in. And if you're not down for that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it. Also, the 2020 Royal Rumble was announced to be in Minute Maid Park in Houston. And of course, they announced that to great fanfare because this past Elimination Chamber happened in Houston. So, yeah, they're throwing that over there too. Good for you, Houston. Good for you. Speaking of Elimination Chamber, after Braun Strowman got triple powerbombed by Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre, which they made very sure to reference that the triple powerbomb was the Shield's move. Possible Roman Reigns return. Yeah, Braun Strowman got revenge in a simple one-on-one tables match. I'm sure he was happy to throw Baron Corbin through a table. Nah, he probably won't be happy until he just rips Baron Corbin limb from limb. Also, a few things from Elimination Chamber, or maybe just one thing, that I forgot to mention on last week's Weekly Thunder. Finn Balor defeated Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush in a 2-on-1 handicap match to win the Intercontinental Championship. And Balor got it by pinning Rush, because he could pin or submit either Lio Rush or Bobby Lashley, the actual champion. And of course, the smart thing to do is go for the weak link, that is Lio Rush. Because somehow he has a wonderful record on 205 Live for whatever reason. But yeah, in Monday Night Raw, he's a punk bitch. And yeah, so after Lio Rush lost the Intercontinental Championship for Lashley, Lashley slammed Rush to the ring floor. They seem to have made up, strangely enough, without any sort of rhyme or reason why, on Raw the following night, because they attacked Balor during his victory speech. And then the first of 4 NXT superstars that I told you were coming to Raw and SmackDown this week, Ricochet, he came out and tagged with Finn Balor to defeat Lashley and Rush. And yeah, this was the greatest 2 days of network television ever, because Ricochet is the most amazing sight to see. And then the next night on SmackDown, he fought Eric Young of Sanity and won, which it wasn't as exciting as, tagging against somebody awesome like Finn Balor and going against the legend like Bobby Lashley. But, it was Ricochet doing Ricochet things. It was the best few minutes of Tuesday night network television. And the tag team women champions Sasha Banks and Bayley had their victory speech, and predictably interrupted by Nia Jax and Tamina, surely setting up the next story leading to the next championship match. Cool, but duh. It's probably going to be for Fastlane. In DIY, which is Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, who are the NXT champion and the NXT North American champion respectively, they reunited, even though Johnny Gargano hates Tommaso's guts for betraying him, but Tommaso's been trying to make it up to him maybe. But they put their differences aside to make some waves on the main roster for this little appearance. They reunited to defeat the Raw Tag Team Champs, The Revival, in a non-title match, and then defeated The Bar on SmackDown. Unclear if we're closer to a full-blown reunion or just get it out of your system sort of thing, until NXT, when Johnny and Candice spurred Tommaso again before the Velveteen Dream, DREAM, won the North American Championship from Johnny. And Elias was the first main roster victim of Aleister Black's Black Mass Kick, and Andrade was the second on SmackDown, which is the other reason why Monday and Tuesday night were the best nights for network television probably in all of 2019, or at least until Black and Ricochet join the main roster permanently. Also, is Dean Ambrose turning face again after his sort of piff and his feud with Seth Rollins and his weird germaphobe Bane sort of thing just went crash boom? Because for starters, they got rid of that annoying siren that played during his Kickstart My Heart sounding theme. And then the last time Seth Rollins was on TV 2 weeks ago, Dean came out before his second match with EC3 and said, "I just got one thing to say to you. Slay the beast." Mic drop, and Seth Rollins was utterly perturbed. And then after last Monday, when Drew McIntyre was trying to fight Seth Rollins, Dean instead offered himself up instead. Maybe a bit altruistic, maybe a bit he's fucking insane and wants the challenge. Who knows? But then afterwards, after Drew McIntyre beat Dean, and Seth was talking to somebody, Dean came over and he was just like, "Where were you out there, man?" And Seth was just completely shocked, confused, flabbergasted, whatever you want to call it, as if everything that had happened since Roman's leukemia announcement did not happen. But hey, it probably, if this is Dean's sort of last couple months before he leaves after WrestleMania, this could be setting up for a nice little send-off story. Maybe with Roman Reigns making a one-off appearance? I don't know. But speaking of him, on top of Sexy Thor and his Shield mates being at Monday Night Raw tomorrow in Atlanta and Ric Flair's birthday celebration, it was announced a couple days ago that Roman Reigns will be freaking showing up at that Raw to give an update on his battle with leukemia, and probably to start promoting Hobbs and Shaw now that Fighting With My Family is now out in theaters. I'll get to that later. You know I will. Anyway, in SmackDown news, heading up to WWE Fastlane, which is exactly 2 weeks from today, the Usos defeated Miz and Shane O'Mac at Elimination Chamber. That was the other piece of news I forgot to tell you about. Sorry. But then The Miz did a public apology to Shane O'Mac, even though Shane said, "No, it's fine, it happens," and all that. The Miz was just so crushed that he let Shane down, because Miz was the one that got pinned, that he put on a public apology. And then the Usos came out and they started shit-talking The Miz, which Shane wasn't having any of that. So despite the fact that there are no automatic rematches anymore as decreed by the McMahon family after TLC, Shane wasn't going to stand for the Usos dissing his boy. So, yeah, the Usos versus Miz and Shane is set once again for Fastlane 2 weeks from today. And also, after a 6-man tag team where the same guys that fought in the Elimination Chamber for the WWE Championship, which was Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy. They had a little 6-man tag match against each other, and Kofi Kingston won. He pinned Daniel Bryan, just like he kicked his ass at the gauntlet match before Elimination Chamber. But for some reason, they didn't let him get it done in the Elimination Chamber. Shane McMahon came out and chose Kofi Kingston to face Daniel Bryan at Fastlane for the WWE Championship. Just a plain old good old-fashioned singles match, at least for now. So enough of the main roster stuff. There was an 8-man tournament that will be playing out over the next few weeks on 205 Live to face Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania. And it started with Cedric Alexander and Humberto Carrillo advancing. In movie news, Chris Hemsworth will be playing Hulk Hogan in a biopic directed by Todd Phillips, who, if you remember, is the same guy who is directing the Joker origin movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. So yeah, you've got Thor, you've got Hulk Hogan, you've got the guy directing the Joker movie. You already know I'm down to check this movie out. Also, Gwyneth Paltrow has announced that she'll be retiring from the MCU. She's been playing Virginia Pepperpotts, the assistant promoted up to secretary, promoted up to now Tony Stark's fiance. Will be retiring after Avengers Endgame, predictably enough, which that may not be boding very well for Tony Stark and his fate, but we already knew that probably won't end well for him. But we all know that Happy Hogan will be in Spider-Man Far From Home because he's in the trailer. And apparently him and Aunt May are going to be a thing, which, yeah, weird choice, Kevin Feige, but I'm intrigued to see how this all will play out. Also, just as much as I'm intrigued to see how Captain Marvel gets her name, since there doesn't seem to be a character previously called Marvel in there, and also intrigued to how Endgame will play out because of obvious reasons. So, yeah, that back, it's crazy. And I was thinking last year Black Panther came out in February, Infinity War came out in August, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in July, and then it was just like, oh, whoa, such a long wait, because then Captain Marvel doesn't even come out till next March. Well, here we are on the precipice again, and it doesn't feel like any time left at all. But then again, this whole famous, crazy back half of 2018 that I've hopefully documented well for you pretty much helped make that time go by pretty fast. And here we are again on the verge of that trifecta of MCU movies for the year. It's gonna be crazy. Also, final bit of news. The trailer for The Dirt, the biopic based off the Motley Crue autobiography, and arguably the greatest rock band biography ever, has been released. It stars Machine Gun Kelly, the rapper, as Tommy Lee, which I think is an absolute perfect casting between attitude and genre, because Tommy Lee did have some dabbles into hip-hop in the early 2000s. And also, I am probably going to butcher this name even though I googled how to pronounce it. Ewan Rion. He played Ramsey Bolton, that son of a bitch that did all sorts of horrible things to Sansa Stark. And also he played Maximus in the Inhumans TV show, which did all sorts of horrible things to Marvel Television. So, with those two references, I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm talking about. At least 95% of y'all. And if it's lower than that, come on, Thunder Faithful, let's all step our collective game up here. But yeah, he's going to be playing Mick Mars, the reclusive, amazing guitarist that brought a little bit more blues into the 80s metal scene, who, even despite having a degenerative bone disease called ankylosing spondylitis, which I'm pretty sure I didn't butcher as bad as I did the actor's name who will be playing Mick Mars, yeah, he still stuck it out in the end. He's still alive, but he stayed in the band the whole time. He didn't leave at all. He just stood there while touring, played his guitar, and just made it work. And he just troopered through it all the way to Motley Crue's end. Which, also speaking of which, there is a new collection of songs starring with a new single called The Dirt, go figure, that'll be coming out. Original songs recorded by Motley Crue. But wait, Adam, didn't Motley Crue break up for the final time back in 2014, 2015? Why? Yes and no. They signed a contract saying they wouldn't tour anymore, but that did not prevent them from making any more new music. Which this is their first new music since I'm pretty sure they either came out in 2014, 2015, called All Bad Things Must Come to an End, and this will be their first collection of songs, I believe, since 2008's Saints of Los Angeles album. So yeah, good things are ahead. Also, time for some reviews. Now, y'all already knew this was coming, and I couldn't wait to talk about it ever since I found out this movie was even a thing back in December or January. But I got to see Fighting with My Family, and it definitely did not disappoint. Even though there were some obvious changes there, and I do have my own little nitpicks with the final scene of her taking on AJ Lee to win the Divas Championship on her first night on the main roster, which that's not a spoiler. It's an actual thing that's happened for like the last 5 years. But despite all of that, I thought it was a wonderful movie. Florence Pugh, however you pronounce that. This still didn't butcher it as bad as I did Yoan Rion's name. Yeah, she was a wonderful Paige. And her whole family dynamic, of course, with Nick Frost and Lena Headey playing her parents. Her brother, the guy that plays her brother, I know he was in something, but I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was fantastic as well. And Vince Vaughn playing an original character made up of a few notable NXT coaches. Yeah, he was wonderful too. And her three friends, who they were original characters, but their costumes were obviously Alexa Bliss, Summer Rae, and I don't know who else. Those were interesting touches. Those were just nods. Those weren't the actual characters. Even though I'm pretty sure the one that wore the Alexa Bliss garb said she was a cheerleader, so though I'm pretty sure Alexa and Paige didn't really know each other back then, so I don't know. These are just little nitpicky things because I've been a Paige fan ever since I've been a wrestling fan since last year. But y'all know me. Once I get interested in something, I catch up on that knowledge real quick. And yeah, you should definitely go see Fighting with My Family. If you like comedy, if you like with a little touch of family drama and all that, if you like wrestling, most definitely watch this movie. And of course, Dwayne Johnson was in it for a total of 5 minutes, playing himself wonderfully. And yeah, cannot recommend this movie enough. I might watch this movie one more time before Captain Marvel comes out, but other than that, I'm taking me a movie break. But I will just sneak in this one little recommendation before I leave, because my great friend JT Wheatley of History of Comic Books podcast came over to my Con to see How to Train Your Dragon 3, and yeah, he highly recommends it. So also go see that. I'll try to watch it myself eventually, and I'll give you the good word on that. Scout's honor. I've now put it on wax on my own little show, and yeah, I'll let you know how it is, but to just let you know straight up, he highly recommends it, and when he recommends something, it's usually pretty damn good. So, and when he doesn't recommend something, I probably like it. Cough, Suicide Squad, cough. But anyway, so that's your Weekly Thunder. Holy shit, it's already 23 minutes. You know, if I keep making these notes to myself of stuff I want to talk about on here, this might turn into a full show, when really this started out as something that was just supposed to be a few minutes long. But now I just sort of write these notes down as it happens to, ooh, I want to talk about this on Weekly Thunder. Ooh, I want to talk about this on Weekly Thunder. Ooh, I want to talk about this on Weekly Thunder. Notepad on your cell phone is my best friend. So anyway, that's your Weekly Thunder for this Sif Sunday, February 24th. I'm Sexy Thor, and remember to drink, fight, and get yourself some proud ancestors. And I'll talk to you in 8 days. And I'll tell you how Raw is. Ooh. Well, next week's is probably going to be like half an hour. Also, this one might be half an hour if I don't stop talking. So, have a wonderful Mjolnir Monday.